What up guys, I am back with another video, and this time we are trying something a little bit new. What I'm going to be trying to do, hopefully you guys will enjoy this, is I'm going to try to start uploading 2 times a day. One video will be something to do with the game's content, something to do with maybe new news amongst the game, something like that. And the second video of the day will basically be gameplay videos such as my World Series runs, wagers, collaborations, or my Broke Boys videos, stuff of that sort. So I'm going to try to get as much content to you guys as possible. Hopefully that's something that you guys are looking forward to. It's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. You guys have been supporting a crazy amount ever since I started uploading consistently. It's really helped grow my channel, and it's helped bring some of you guys in, and I'm super glad for it. What I'm going to be doing in this series of videos is I'm going to be counting down my top 7. The reason it's going to be 7 is because I want to be unique. A lot of people do top 5s, a lot of people do top 10 lists. I'm doing top 7. My top 7 favorite players at each position. Now, this is something that will keep me entertained and kind of will help me go through my inventory and kind of remind myself of certain guys that I may like, that I may want to use again. But also, I will be picking guys from certain price ranges. So you people watching who are always asking me, oh, who should I use at this position? Who should I use at this position? Who should I use at this price range? Hopefully these episodes will answer all of those questions for you. Alright, I'm going to go around the diamond and I'm going to take my time and describe why each of these players can be used, why they're good, and hopefully it helps you guys find that hidden gem that you guys are looking for. Maybe it's somebody you guys already use, but after I say my list, I need you guys to leave in your comments below who your favorite guys are. Maybe I missed some, maybe I'm wrong about some. Remember, this is all personal preference, so do not hang me for this. I'm just trying to have fun with you guys. I'm going to mostly be talking about guys that I've had the experience of using, but a couple of them will be off of what I've watched in streams, YouTube videos, and what I know about their attributes. So I'm going to make sure to try to cover all ground, alright? The first episode of today, we are starting with my top 7 catchers. Let's go. At number 7, we have Finest Yasmani Grandal. He just came out recently. He looked extremely promising with his 80 contact, 92 power versus righties, and 88 contact, 113 power versus lefties. His offense looks stacked. He has a good vision at 92, and his fielding is still a gold when he's behind the plate at 85. He has an okay arm strength, okay accuracy, which, I mean, he can still throw some guys out. He has a good reaction, so he can make some plays. His speed is definitely low, but for a catcher, you're not really looking for guys that are going to be super fast. It's pretty hard to find. Now, my gripe with Yasmani Grandal is that I don't really care for his swing and his batting stance too much. A guy like me, I look into that a lot with how comfortable I am with my batter. I've said that a lot in my tips videos. So when I use Yasmani Grandal, I kind of have a weird feel with him. Maybe if you use him, he may end up being higher on your personal list, but this is my list, and so I don't have him in the top 5 or the top 3 solely because of that reason. I love that he's a switch hitter. That, to me, is always a huge benefit and will automatically make a guy somebody who I want to experiment and try with, because just having that platoon advantage at all times really helps. Overall, Yasmani Grandal is definitely one of the good finest cards. If you're looking for a catcher and you can't quite afford one of those premier guys, I suggest at least giving Yasmani Grandal a try. He could be somebody who cracks your lineup and does big things for you. So number 7 is Yasmani Grandal. Now number 6, my guy Gary Carter. Now this card came out a few months ago, and as soon as he came out, it kind of took everybody by storm. He was one of the rare choices in the choice packs, and immediately when he came out, people kind of went crazy about him because at that time there weren't a ton of guys that had amazing hitting stats and good fielding stats. As you can see, he has an 89 fielding, which is definitely serviceable behind the plate, and a 90 arm strength and an 86 arm accuracy. He's going to be throwing runners out with ease. And he has a 90 blocking, so not a lot of balls are going to get past him. But his hitting, a 93 power versus righties, a 90 power versus righties, 102 contact versus lefties, and a 94 power versus lefties. With that, 120 vision, that helps that PCI stay nice and big and helps you stay comfortable at the plate. Now, my experience with Gary Carter is I was one of the guys that was very happy seeing him because at the time it was pre-patch, so a lot of the balls with Pudge and the creative players were dying, so everybody was kind of trying to find somebody new to use. Gary Carter was our savior. We all made sure to buy him. I bought Gary Carter, and I actually did pretty well with him. I liked him. I liked his stance. I liked his swing. He seemed to be doing very well. My only issue with him was his price at the time. I had Pudge sitting on my bench, and at the time, Gary Carter was 130,000 stubs. That's a lot of stubs, especially that early in the game when you're constantly seeing new guys come out and you're constantly trying to find new guys to use. So that was very expensive. So I kind of just cut my losses and sold him and ended up sticking with Pudge at that time. But that is the only reason why I got rid of him. And I mean, he's definitely a good guy to have. If you guys are just trying to experiment with different teams and trying to get fancy with some guys, Gary Carter is a good choice. He's a righty bat. He can also play right field as a secondary in case you need to do a double switch or anything like that. So he's not a bad bench bat either. But overall, he's a good fielder. He's a good hitter. He gets the job done. And he's not the slowest guy in the world. So there's that. Number 6, Gary Carter. Number 5 is number 5, Johnny Bench. My man, Johnny Bench. Those fielding stats alone help Johnny stick out in my eyes. A 95 fielding, a 95 arm strength. What else can you want? The guy has a missile behind the plate, and he can, he can make plays. That's what that 95, that diamond shield is all about. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable pitching. His blocking is high. You could bounce that curveball. There's a good chance he's going to block it. He has your back at behind the plate, and there's not much more you can ask in that sense. But you go to his hitting stats, and we have never had a Johnny Bench with this juiced of hitting stats before. There have been a lot of Johnny Benches in MLB The Show. This, by far, is the best one. He's always been stacked against lefties, but this one is definitely stacked against righties as well. Overall hitting, he almost has better hitting than Gary Carter, and his fielding stats are better too, which puts him above Gary Carter on my list. 97 contact, 98 power versus righties, 101 contact, 106 power versus lefties, with 109 vision and 107 discipline. These stats are remarkable, especially for a Johnny Bench card that is amazing behind the plate. If you were doing an all-red squad, or if you're just looking to switch up your catcher spot and get another guy in with a nice batting stance and a nice swing like Johnny Bench, he may be your guy. I actually have not gotten to use Johnny Bench besides a couple runs in BR. You guys know I'm not that good in BR. I do not think I had a 12-0 run with him, but what I do know is I've used his batting stance before in the past. He's not a new card to MLB The Show, so I am not mad at this card. I wouldn't mind trying him because his stats are, his hitting stats as a catcher, they don't get much better than that, so overall this card is one of the best. And at number 5, Johnny Bench is well deserving of a top 5 spot. At number 4 is the MLB The Show 19 OG Pudge Rodriguez. The reason I say that is because he was one of the first cards that we found out about when we were pre-ordering and getting ready for MLB The Show 19, and we were so happy to know that he was going to be in the game because we knew that his fielding was going to be crazy and his hitting was going to be crazy. Now, he has a 96 fielding, which is even better than Johnny Bench, and he has a 99 arm strength and a 96 arm accuracy. That is absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure that's the best in the game. He has a 90 blocking, an 80 reaction. He has a 72 speed, which is actually serviceable on the base pass, and he can actually get you some stolen bases if you need him. I don't suggest you go crazy with it. If you're like me, you get caught stealing a lot already. You don't need to be testing them with a 72 speed. but it is good enough to avoid some double plays, to get some guys over, to tag up maybe. Having that extra speed as your catcher is really cool. His hitting stats aren't as crazy as they may seem, but post-patch, this card absolutely rakes. 110 contact, 119 contact against both sides. He's in the 80s in power, which isn't crazy, but he definitely can hit some home runs, I can assure you. The problem with Pudge is post-patch, it was just nonsense. The game was in a bad place. Pudge was hitting line drives for outs constantly. He was just hitting hard ground outs to third base. It was hard to get anything going. And at the time, we didn't know for sure that the game was truly messed up. So we kind of just assumed that it was Pudge's fault. But in reality, I think it was just the game's fault. Because now every time I face Pudge, he hits a home run off of me. Now, Pudge Rodriguez, for guys that don't know, he is the reward for collecting the AL players. All of the player pool in the AL, that's how you get Pudge Rodriguez. So you're not going to find him on the community market. If you want him, he's halfway to the Willie Mays collection, which I suggest you do because Pudge is good, Rogers Hornsby is good, and Willie Mays is one of the best cards in the game. So you should have Pudge. If you have Pudge, you probably know how good he is. If you don't, you should find out how good he is. Number 4, Pudge Rodriguez. Now, number 3 was a little tough. You have a guy whose hitting stats are remarkable. He's been a letdown some years, but this year he seems to be finding his groove amongst many people's teams. He's not on mine, but he's starting to get the job done. You also have a guy that just came out. He's a member of the Finest group, and his hitting stats are a little bit lower, but his fielding is much better, and he has some good speed. You guys know I like speed, so let me get to you the number 3 guy. Mike Piazza. Some people might call him Piazza. I call him Piazza. I don't know. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. I just know my mom used to be in love with him, and she always called him Piazza, so that's kind of how I said it. But besides his name, his hitting stats are remarkable. I've been watching him in streams. I know McGunsky murders with Mike Piazza, and I know a lot of guys really like him. You look at those offensive attributes, and all of his stats are in flames. They're all just above 100. It's kind of overwhelming when you look at it. You look at this card and you just assume he's a must-have. But 116 contact, 109 power versus righties, 125 contact, 115 power versus lefties. It really does not matter what hand you're facing because the guy absolutely mashes all hands. 111 vision, 104 discipline, and 115 clutch. This guy's an absolute animal. His fielding could definitely use some improvement. If his fielding was in the 80s or 90s, he could probably be at the number 1 spot. I mean, you really never know. But the silver defense kind of downticks him a little bit, and it's a shame because those hitting stats are well deserving of being one of the best. But he is one of the best. He's top 3. I suggest you try out Mike Piazza. I don't care who you have behind the plate. Give him a try. Try to find a groove with him. If you do, he may find you some dubs. All right, number 3, Mike Piazza. Now, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this because this is definitely a personal preference. I think a lot of people would probably have Piazza as second, maybe switch a couple guys around. I have JT Realmuto's Finest card at second. The reason for that, his arm strength's crazy, his speed is crazy for a catcher, and his hitting stats are doable to still be one of the better hitters in your lineup. Now, I know Mike Piazza's hitting stats are a lot better, but I can't get over how good his fielding is, his arm is, and his speed is compared to Mike Piazza. It's just, to me, it was a little bit of a toss-up, but I definitely gave the edge to JT Realmuto. Now, I only used JT Realmuto a few times, a couple in BR, and once trying him against one of my buddies, and I absolutely loved his swing. He had a lot of opposite field power. He was hitting gappers for me, and I just loved him overall. Having that speed on the base pass makes you feel so comfortable because usually when you have a catcher, you have a guy with below 50 speed, and you when you have a guy like that on base pass, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know if you could score him on a certain single from second or whatever. With JT Realmuto, you do not have to worry about that. He plays first base. You could have him on the bench. You could have him wherever. I mean, his fielding stats are crazy. His hitting stats are crazy. He still has 103 vision, which is pretty good for a version of a live series card. Sometimes they don't give them the respect that they deserve. Decent discipline. It's not the best, but overall, I do believe that JT Realmuto is the second best catcher in this game as of right now. Now, it's time to show you guys the number one guy, and if you guys watch my content consistently, I'm sure you already know who it's going to be. The man, the myth, the legend, Jorge Posada. My man. Now this feels like biased because I'm looking at his attributes compared to Mike Piazza, and Mike Piazza's hitting stats are better. I mean, hitting attributes are better, and it looks like his fielding stats are pretty much the same. You want to know the difference? The difference between Mike Piazza and Jorge Posada is Jorge Posada is a god sent from heaven directly to my arms for me to cradle and hold like my dear child, because all he does is get me dubs. His hitting stats are remarkable. He's batting .395 for me. I know you guys can't see a lot of the stuff because of my webcam, but he's batting .395 for me. He has 42 jacks, 101 RBIs, and 301 at-bats. His OPS is 1.325. He's slugging almost 900. His on-base percentage is above 400. I mean, this guy is just... he's just a gangster, man. He's really just a gangster. Having that switch bat in the heart of my order is something that I absolutely love. I know his speed's not good. He's just amazing. Now, if you guys listen to me ever, listen to me here. Pay the money for Jorge Posada. I know he's expensive. If you need to go 12-0 to get him, go 12-0 to get him. But this is the guy. This is the man. Okay? Please, just listen to me. You've seen me use him. You've seen him clutch it out and get me wins. I would not steer you guys wrong. Jorge Posada is the man. I will not be told different. Do not at me. Do not comment at me. This is the man. I'll listen to your guys' comments on YouTube. You guys can tell me your list. But Jorge Posada is number one in my heart and should be number one in all your guys' hearts, alright? I will see you guys soon for the next list. I'm not sure what position it's going to be. Maybe I'll go around in order. Maybe I'll pick whoever I'm feeling at that time. But until then, I'll see you guys later, alright? Peace.